Welcome back, fellow Illumineers, to Be Our Guest. It's time to talk draft. Ravensburger has released official rules for draft and sealed over the weekend, and to help you get ahead of the competition, we've enlisted the help of the magnificent, the masterful, the magnanimous Wero the Great. Both Wero and I are avid drafters and have actually been drafting a homebrew format spearheaded by Knives Nerd Corner and Traverse Tavern over the last couple months. As such, we've got plenty of drafts and games to draw on to help you decide what to pick and when. Note, we'll be starting by covering solely commons and uncommons, as you'll be seeing and picking a lot more of them as they make up at least 75% of the pack. After we've got through all 6 colors, we'll come back with a 7th video compiling the rankings for all the rare, super rare, and legendary cards you can't wait to draft. So, if you want the key to crushing the draft competition at your local game store from 2 seasoned drafters, please be our guest. So, at the end of the video, we're going to have a chart where you can see everything ranked all nice and neat. If you want to just skip to that, by all means. I know some of you like to skip to the end of the books, and that's fine. But the rankings that we're going to go through is we're going to go through S, A, B, C, D, F. And what does that refer to? So, S tier will be first pickable cards, the cards that you want to slam down when you see them first in the pack. A tier will be ideally picks that you're going to get 2 through 4. So they're not necessarily first pickable. You would be satisfied with first picking them, but you want to see them in 2 through 4. B would be picks 5 through 8 where you're happy to see them. C would be cards that you're looking to wheel, but you're still happy to have them in your deck. D would be kind of the last picks, include if you must, hoping not to type thing. And F would be, don't include unless you absolutely have to. You have no other choice. Someone is holding you against your will. And we're on to steel like that. Magic. And we're both in gray shirts, so maybe we're like trying to be like subtly pro steel here. Is that what's going on?
I mean, oh, we forgot to wear the same shirts for the other 3.
Oh, no matching. It would be very tough for you to match.
No, so now they can tell it's a different day from
Amber, you know what's funny? I actually had my other shirt and I was going to do that, and I'm like, wait, he's not going to be wearing the same shirt as the other day, so this is going to look like I just wear the same shirt every day.
You're a grungy garbage man who doesn't shower.
I'm the South Park World of Warcraft guy. I told you, just... all right, Steel.
Aladdin Cornered Swordsman.
Yeah.
This is worse Aurora. Regal Princess. C, I guess.
Yeah.
He's too lower, but he just dies to literally everything.
I've got him at D just because he does die to literally everything, which I don't particularly love that. Because I'm already like, I'm happy with Regal Princess, but I'm not thrilled with Regal Princess. Yeah. So I've got him at D, but I think the fact that he's anything that produces 2+ lore should probably be an include, so I should probably have him at C, but ugh. Yeah. Beast Hardheaded, on the other hand.
So, okay, this depends on what other people have gotten, because if no one else gets any items, he's not the best for his cost.
No, but he's also
if
not
someone
awful
does get
for his
really
cost, right?
Like, he's worse than Jumbajukupa. Like,
for sure. Like, I'm not saying that you'd be thrilled to have him as a 5 cost 4/4, 2 lore, but I'm also not like miserable about it. And
I'm just saying that there's
such a unique ability, right?
There's been a lot of times where I've just played him as like just a tempo play, but then like later on, like, oh, here's the pocket watch. I'm like,
yeah.
It's
the
it's
fact
really
that
hard to
Beast
judge.
Mirror is so accessible to me. Magic Mirror, I guess Magic Mirror is a rare, isn't it? So it shouldn't be more accessible, but it feels like I've seen so much of it.
Yeah.
There's just some items that I'm definitely irritated to see on the other side of the board. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to sell him as like an A or anything. I should specify.
I would put him as a B.
Yeah, I've got him as a high C, low B, which is funny because I've been like selling him so hard here. But I'm just thinking, relatively speaking, to some of the other options. I just like that having a unique ability that isn't completely useless, like as opposed to like a poisoned apple or something, which is completely useless otherwise. Yes, you can exert, but look, Let's not pay 4 for that, okay, everybody?
Yeah.
He's not unusable, and he's got a very unique ability, so I like him.
Yeah.
Who do we got next?
Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist. High B, low A.
Okay, I was gonna try and gauge how do you compare this to the 2/2s.
So it's pretty close. But the thing that drags him down for me is that even though he can challenge up and trade up, is you can't really safely quest with him.
Yep, correct. And I don't know about you, but in draft, I tend to like to be to force the situation where I'm questing and they have to challenge into me, and that's not a good situation for Captain Hook. I still like him. I've got him as a high C, but I've got so many situations where I'm just sitting on him for ages, looking for an opportunity to use him. So yeah, but it is a good threat as well. He stalls out the board.
True. I do like him as a shift target for thinking a happy thought. So if you get that, because not being able to be challenged by 3 drops, and you get him out on turn 3, then you get some free stuff there.
Yep. All right, on to one of my Steel All-Stars. Still, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to oversell this. I still don't have this as an A, but Cerberus Three-Headed Dog.
I would put him as an A. I am picking Cerberus pretty... I know I had Captain down low, but I think Cerberus's 6 willpower does it for me.
Yeah.
Cerberus wins drafts.
Yeah. I've got him as a high B, but I could be swayed to a low A because it's such an efficient body, and bodies matter so much in draft. Don't discount this because it's vanilla. No, it is the real deal. All right, who we got next?
We got Donald Duck Musketeer. He can take out evasives. He is a bodyguard. I think I would put him as like a solid B.
I'm curious how you're going to compare him to. Can we give some spoilers? How do you compare him to Hercules?
So Hercules, I think I would always also put at a B.
Yeah.
I think bodyguard. So Hercules can come out earlier, but Donald has a slightly better stat line for a bodyguard.
Yep.
And he is able to squish Pascals and things like that.
Yeah.
So I would put them evenly.
Yeah, it makes me sad that they gave him 2 strength when he's got evasive on your turn. It's like, so what you're saying is I can only take out Peter Pan with him. But I think I like him a touch better than Hercules. Yes, he comes out later, but I just found the 3 power on Hercules so easy to get around. Whereas the 5 butt, I think, requires a little bit more attention. Yeah. Obviously, it should for an additional cost, but I think enough of attention. I mentioned the 5 willpower with Aurora on our last video. I think 5 willpower in the early to kind of early mid game is pretty substantial. So I like Donald Duck a little bit more. I think I've got them both as C's anyway. But again, it depends on if you need a bodyguard deck. Like if you're building a thematic bodyguard deck with cards that sit behind bodyguards really well, high lore generators, lore batteries, as some like to call them, then the value goes up for me, right? Because then you're making really good use of the bodyguard. If it's just kind of bodyguard for bodyguard's sake, then I've got him as a C.
Yeah.
All right, we can say the briefest of ones, because if you haven't watched the other ones before this, you're probably not watching this one anyway. So how do you feel about Goons?
Hey, let's move on. Hercules, we just talked about him. He's another B for me.
Yeah, you've got him at A, I've got him at B. We're good. Solid. So yeah, cool. Hercules, you've got him at B. I've got him at C. Kristoff, man, we can blitz through these. Kristoff's another repetition.
Yeah, it's a B. Yeah, same thing.
I've got him at... do I have him at B or C? Let me just double check here. I've got him at C too, yeah. Like I had to confirm that. I know we've talked about them 8 million times, but I want to be accurate for the people. Yeah, awesome. All right, let's talk about a new one here. Who do we have next?
We have Kronk Right Hand Man. C. The fact that he's cost 6 does me in
but
here.
He's got 2 more.
I don't care. He's ink. Kronk is ink. Like by the time he's coming out, like, I don't care.
I do, just because again, I like the situation where they're forced to challenge me, and that 2 lore plus mark is really the you must deal with this, you must challenge me. Now, if you've been doing nothing, if you've been dogging the rest of the match and haven't been doing much until then, you can't play him from behind. You've got to be at least parity, if not ahead, for him to be impactful, which means that he is not a good card. I have him
he
at
is
kind
a
of a
win more
mid-C.
card. Win more cards are not good cards. You want cards that
But he's at least an
reverse your position.
impactful win more card.
Sure.
So I've got him at kind of a mid to high C. Okay. Lilo Galactic Hero.
A B,
No, don't
I don't
tell
know.
me you like someone that dies to goons.
Yeah, sure. She dies to goons, but she can trade up. I don't know. She's basically on parity with Kristoff for me. Again, this is another one of those where it was part of the last big
I
draw.
mean, it's better
So
than
I
a
haven't
boo,
seen her
sure.
perform. And yeah, she's better than a boo. She is literally better than a boo. I think she's fine. You're not picking her first, but she's fine. Like low B, high C.
Yeah, I've got her at low C into D. I don't know. I don't know if I got fine on that one, but I'm also dogging on a boo. So, Prince Eric, Dashing and Brave.
C. Like I keep getting like I hate being handed Prince Eric's
Yeah.
in a draft when I'm at C. I was like, I guess I'm taking Prince Eric. Yeah, sure, he has 3 willpower, but he's just like he adds so little compared to Captain Hook, and
the problem is
he has all
Steel,
the
what
problems
else are you
Captain
doing
Hook
at 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one that I begrudgingly take. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like him at C because I know I probably need him in the deck, but I definitely don't want to pick him.
Yeah.
All right, who we got next?
Simba Future King. I don't particularly like him, but I know other people use him a lot. The sifting is good. I know people like looting. I just have my cards. I need my cards. So like having to discard things because usually you make a deck, you want to use all the stuff in your hand.
Yeah.
And if I had like a specific combo deck where okay, I need to get to specific thing, then yeah, I would run all of these things. But usually I'm like, okay, I'm happy with what's in my hand. I'm going to work with what's in my hand. So C for me.
I think we're the same mind in here, which is I value him a lot more in constructed, where the power level of some of my cards is substantial enough to dig for, or the order I need them in is substantial enough. In draft, the quality or the gap in quality between your cards is not so substantial that this is usually worth a whole card for you to sift one. And on a 1/2 body that's going to die to everything with Grammatella, like yeah, I've got him. I think I've got him at C as well, but I could easily throw him into D. Yeah. I have a feeling we might disagree on the next one, which is Simba Rightful Heir. What are your thoughts on Simba?
My thoughts are solid B on Simba. He is uninkable. His stats aren't the best for his cost. I mean, they're not the worst for his costs either. They're kind of like what you would expect for the ability he has. He can get you lore from challenging, but like it's only 1 lore. He's a 3/5. If I get 1 ink more, I get Take Heartless, who is such a much better card, which is why she's a legendary. But for what he does, I think it's fine. I don't think he's a first pick, but I think he's fine. So B.
See, I've got him. I think I might even have him at a D, to be honest with you. Let me double check here. What did I put him at? I did put him at a C because of his ability. But the problem that I have is that, like, what does it cost us to have this ability? Because what would he be otherwise if he didn't have this ability? If he was a vanilla,
he would be a 4/5. So we're only losing 1 strength.
you think uninkable he'd be a 4/5? When Steel has
I think
vanilla stats,
whether or not
right?
it's inkable
I think
is
he would
like
be a 5/5.
tuning balance thing.
Because Steel normally has the bigger bodies, right, than any other color. For the same cost, you're usually getting more stats than any other color. So I think he'd be a 5/5. So I think we're losing 2 strength to get this ability. And how many times are you using it? You're probably using it once. and then he's
But like
getting killed on the
again, in
backswing.
draft, inkability doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about the uninkable. I just think that
Yeah.
historically, it's pretty obvious. Historically, it's been once said that that steel has bigger bodies than the other colors. So I think if we're comparing Jumba Jukuba, for example, at 5 cost, inkable or uninkable. If Jumba's a 4/5, I think it's Steely's a 5/5. So I think we're losing 2 strength for this ability, and I would rather have a 5/5 that can actually deal with some things, and or again force them to challenge into me as I'm questing for 2 lore, than have this ability, because I think it's probably only triggering once. Yeah,
Yeah, possibly.
I still think he's usable because I think that it's a solid ability to have. I just think that at 3 strength, I'd just rather have the 5/5.
Yeah.
Anyways, onwards and upwards. Who we got next?
Starkey, Hook's henchman, D.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're pretty likely to have a Captain Hook in your deck if you're doing steel. Sure. But you need to have him on the field at the same time you're dropping this 5 ink thing that is best case scenario. He is an inverted and thus slightly worse Jumba Jukuba, because having the bigger butt is usually better.
Yep.
My best case scenario is something I would value. I think I valued Jumba at like a C or a low B or something.
Yep.
This is D. This is trash.
Yep, agreed. Moving on. Tinkerbell Tiny Tactician. Do you have a giant fairy handy?
If you have a giant fairy, S, you need this. This is a requirement. You probably grab this in the hopes that another pack down the line you grab a giant fairy, and I think that automatically puts her in A just for that simple fact. If giant fairy did not exist, I would probably put her at C. But the fact that giant fairy exists and there is a decent possibility that you might pop her puts her automatically at A.
Oh, I don't know. Definitely if I've got her already, but I'm not counting on getting her, because someone's taken that first pick out of almost any pack, even if they're not in steel.
Here's the thing. Tiny Tactician could just say reckless instead of her ability and have no lore, and I would still take her because giant fairy can shift on top of her.
I don't know. I mean, I still think she's useful, but I've got her at C. And yes, she would probably still only be a B for me if I had Giant Fairy, because I want more impactful cards. If I gotta wait a couple turns to get Giant Fairy out and have a much better card than Tiny Tactician, I still think I think she goes in any steel draft deck. But I'm not willing to pick her that high, even with a Giant Fairy. So, all right. What's next?
Break, which is ink, F tier.
Yep. Moving on. F.
Fire the cannons, S. Like you.
I'm still not wanting to first pick it, but
you first pick it. There's a lot of stuff that you pick this over.
I mean, I will begrudgingly first pick it, but I like this better than some of the other, ones that I'm relatively happy to first pick. I still think it's an A, but I would value it lower than, especially if we're talking like pick one, pack one. I'd value it lower than like a Goofy or a Pongo or a Dragonfire or something like that.
Okay,
we just talked Ruby, so that's still fresh in my mind.
Let's say your rares are Gantu and Bell Strange but special. You're slamming this thing.
For sure. Compared to those, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if it's foil. We forgot to mention foil adds like plus
oh
one.
My god. No, Fire the Cannons is absolutely, this is an S tier card.
All right. Well, I'm not far behind you. I'm picking it one after you. You might get past the odd Fire the Cannons from me. Ransack F.
Yeah, same stuff I was saying about Simba Future King. I can see potential constructed decks that want to draw to specific cards that are going to run Ransack. In draft, this is ink.
Yeah. Now you might be thinking at home, but I've got Giant Fairy in my deck. I want to find Giant Fairy. Well, the chances of you finding her by digging too deeper at the cost of a card is not going up substantially enough to warrant that. What do we got next?
Smash. I would put this as a solid B, maybe A. It is removal. Removal is good. It is inkable removal, even better.
Yep.
The one thing is it's not as cost efficient as Fire the Cannons. Yep. You can't recur it with Captain the Jolly Roger.
Yeah, and again, as we've said, uninkable in draft isn't as impactful, so that difference between the Fire of the Cannons is relatively moot. So Fire of the Cannons being substantially more efficient is much better. But yeah, I agree. I've got it as a B, but yeah, depending on where my deck's at, B to A, I'm fine with, because it's still solid removal. It's not great removal, but it's still solid removal. All right, Beast's Mirror.
S tier. You are absolutely going to empty your hand out in draft.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you have paired this with Amethyst and you've got a whole bunch of card draw effects, you're going to empty your hand out, and this is going to win you the game.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, again, I really hesitate to give S tiers to commons and uncommons, so I've got this at A, but it's like a second pick for me. Like, I'm hoping that I've got a better rare plus in my pack, but I'm fine. I'm perfectly happy, and I would probably pick this over like a Goofy or a Pongo, going back to the last conversation. But I'm still hoping to get its second pick. And wrapping things up, sir, without further ado, you take it.
Frying Pan. Put this work together with the Mole Men.
Light it on fire. Tear it up.
Put this in the realm of the Mole Men. I need the under F tier needs to say Realm of the Mole Men.
Okay, I'll work on that.
It's just like if there were a character that were like exert target character can't challenge, I would run that. This is a single use item that costs 2. Trash.
And isn't even that great, right? Can't challenge. Okay, I quest towards winning the game. Okay, right? Like, I mean, there are times I can think of very niche scenarios where I would want to have that ability, but not at the cost of including it in my deck.
And not in limited.
Yeah. Anyone that wants to come at me with, what about this situation? Yeah, I can construct a what about to any single card that's ever existed, any single effect, but that doesn't make it worth putting in your deck.
And it doesn't have a body.
Yeah.
Like if this were an ETB, like LeFou style on like a 2/2.
Yeah.
Sure, I would probably run that. This is a single use item.
Yeah.
Trash. Mole Man.
We did it. We got through the comments and uncommons.
We did.
Any last words other than our pre-recorded outro that you'd like to add in? You want to go to sleep, right? That's what you got. Right?
No. I will make it. I'm gonna get like some Chinese takeout or something. My last thought would be any color is viable in draft format except maybe Sapphire. You want to be looking at some decent rares, and there are some really good rares in Sapphire, but you need to like get them pack 1 for that. If you don't bother.
No. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I think again, Sapphire, you can make an argument if like nobody else is in the draft and the greatest cards in Sapphire are opened, then sure. But yeah, it's rough. All right, thank you again so much, sir. Really appreciate the time, especially with you feeling kind of down today, a little fatigued. But love it. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cheers, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's truly an honor to see you enjoying our videos. Thank you to Lorcana.com for having us as one of their featured creators, and thank you to the amazing community coming together around this incredible game. Please like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see on our next video. Until next time, if you'd like to continue with us on this journey, please be our guest.